We're looking
Look
good.
at you. So
Yeah.
proud.
Mm-hmm.
I forget to do that all the time.
I know. I need like an hour and a half now I used to do this. I used to be a whiz. Now, like, what am I doing?
I like that background. It's got those two things on the end that Jacksonville could not get into at the end of the season.
If not for a poorly thrown ball into the wind in Kansas City that Tyreek made into a touchdown, no one would be hitting that. So, whatever.
Yes.
Anyway.
All this banter and more that you can expect on NFL HQ. Finally back. I'm sure they've been back, but the Canadian has been buried under feet of snow, inches of snow, centimeters of snow, however you want to convert it, metric or not. But I've dug my way out into my basement, if that makes any sense, to wallow in misery with a few of my comrades here. And, of course, somebody that can celebrate a playoff victory in 2023, 2024. Joining us from Omaha, Nebraska, we have Dave and Sam.
Is it this one?
So hello to both of you.
Hello.
Hello.
And of course, out there hosting the Super Bowl this year in Las Vegas. I don't think he's hosting it personally, AC.
Not yet.
But his team and my team, he's a Dolphins fan, a Miami Dolphins fan. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. Our teams took it personally. When all season long we heard the narratives, are the Miami Dolphins or the Dallas Cowboys ever going to be the team over 500? The answer was only when they play each other.
We both could have lost that game
other than that, we are the two frauds of the NFL because we both went down in glorious fashion on NFL wildcard weekend. Although AC, I will say, I'm sure the masses are reveling in the Cowboys' loss much more than that of the Dolphins. But other than that, we are back and we are here to talk NFL Super Wildcard weekend. And of course, take us into the divisional round. So here we are.
How do you guys feel? I mean, I almost don't want to start with Sam because I know how she feels, but like, how do you guys feel? I know, ladies first usually, but tonight
it's okay.
It's rough because we know that then it's just a cascade of sorrow. So, should we start with the Dolphins or should we start with Dallas? I mean, the Dallas thing was pretty sad, but it's a cycle, right? It's what we
the cycle. If you haven't seen the memes, I don't have the meme in front of me because I'm trying to stay away from it. But you see it all the time. Season starts. The hope comes. The
Which
belief
cycle?
in the Super Bowl.
You mean this one?
That one?
Exactly. Everybody already knows what it is. We don't need to see it, but we can see it. And the only thing I was going to say is, I can wait 360 some odd more days till the Cowboys make the playoffs next year, but can I expect a different result is the real question. And it's the definition of insanity, but I will go insane for the Cowboys each and every year. But why don't we just start with the misery of the Eagles? How bad were the Eagles lately? let's just beat up on the whole division.
Way to deflect that one.
Oh, wait, we didn't want to talk about the winner of Tampa Bay, so we won't talk about the Eagles. But obviously, the snow in Buffalo got the game moved. For the safety of the fans and everybody involved, that got moved. So we had a doubleheader on Saturday, doubleheader on Sunday.
That was crazy.
And a doubleheader on Monday.
Did you guys like
Bills, that? I didn't mind it. Obviously, me and Ken, I didn't have the day off, but you guys got to, I believe, all had the day off. Maybe, maybe not for Martin Luther King
in the evening
day yesterday.
No.
Yeah. In the evening, I did. Yeah, it was cool. It was just I almost forgot about it, and I was like, it was almost like, here, another serving of your favorite food, and I was like, yum. Watching the Bills.
Yeah.
Do you understand how that game was so important for us to win at the end of the season? And it was just so much riding on it. So much riding on it. What was riding on it was the championship for the division. Hey, that's a swanky, that's a nice picture there, Dave. The AFC East division title. We had home field advantage that we didn't have to play in one of the fourth coldest games in the snow. It was so profoundly consequential, and we fumbled it in the worst possible way, but I called it.
You did.
Well, and again, I haven't really spoken to you guys since before Christmas even, so we'll get our pleasantries out of the way. But I was going to say, not only that, but Miami fumbled it for the entire NFL, because if you guys won that game the last week of the season, we wouldn't have had to push a game back in Buffalo, because we wouldn't have had that game in Buffalo.
That's true.
So
that's my God, that's right. But so many variables, but anytime you have that kind of power to take it home, because the weather is definitely a factor. The kid played in, when I say kid, I mean Tua. He played in Hawaii, then the Deep South, and then Miami. He's literally the definition of like a warm weather quarterback. You can't get him any more not ready to play in that kind of stuff. And it was evident. Like he can't throw against the wind. He can't. The lateral passes had no zip on them. I even looked at my wife and I was like, man, he threw just like a grapefruit. He threw like a loaf of bread into the wind. It just like so many chances to get picked off. It was ridiculous. And you can tell by 10 minutes left in the third quarter, it was over and they didn't want to be there anymore. So kind of a give up, and that's what hurts the most.
Now, I will say this. It was very cold in Kansas City. I truly believe that even the Chiefs players don't want to play in that kind of cold. But why this narrative all the time about the Dolphins don't want to travel to cold weather? It's not like everyone in Miami, but not why everybody in Miami only comes from the state of Miami or these southern states. There are players all over the league that play in the SEC or played in the Pac-12 or wherever it was, played in Texas, that never have played in games like this. So I don't understand why everyone always believes that the weather is this big of a disadvantage for the away team all the time. But obviously Miami did nothing to help with that in any way.
I have a two-prong answer. I think the answer is it's psychological. I think it's a little psychological that our superpower is when people come to our stadium, we built it so, the shade is on our side when it turns 4:00 in the afternoon. It's like perfectly systematically put. So hopefully the mojitos that you had the Saturday prior, now at 1 p.m. you're sweating them out playing the Dolphins in Raider black. That'd be great, right? But I think it's also psychological where we can't believe it. But then we also get a quarterback that, like I just explained, is a system quarterback for like warm weather. It's a Hawaiian kid. I mean, it's cartoonishly like on the nose. So a lot of like Josh Allen, he's built for it. He has a stronger arm. He's a big kid. He can run it. He can tuck it and run it without the possibility of throwing up gang signs. That's just what it is. So,
but we've seen Josh Allen play in a game against Bill Belichick. We will have to get to at some point. Former head coach of the New England Patriots against Mac Jones, where they threw the ball, I think, twice, ran the ball all game, and Josh Allen couldn't do much in, howling winds, swirling winds in Buffalo. So he does have his struggles when the wind picks up, but
he does, and he's an emotional guy, and that's what I've always said. I think Josh Allen is an emotional dude. If you get him in the first quarter and you get him down, and you kind of beat him over the head at his own game, and you make him like draw it out, take away the passing and the deep. He just loses control of his emotions, and he'll try to take it upon himself because he feels like he's like an actual Buffalo, I think.
Okay,
so
at the beginning of that, you said Josh Allen, not the Dallas Cowboys, right? When you beat them down early.
So, right. Sorry. Yes. That's what I mean. Yeah. Sorry about that. But yes, the Bills, when they get when they get beat down, when they do, he loses confidence. He feels he has to drag the whole city on his shoulders. And you can see it. He loses his composure. And then his defense, like against us, I'm not going to make it. It's not a coping mechanism that I'm doing, but it's true. If for some reason that pick six wouldn't have happened and that momentum wouldn't have shifted in that AFC divisional game, the divisional championship game, then we would have probably kept the lead to 19-7 or something like that and kind of won it out with a field goal like we had been doing. But one mistake, it's all over. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know what I mean.
Do we agree that Josh Allen is like the one player in the NFL, it seems like he can win you every football game he plays, but he is also almost always responsible for almost every football game it seems like Buffalo loses. So every team has their story. The story with Buffalo to me is always Josh Allen when he plays a clean game, when he plays this amazing Josh Allen type game, when he's throwing with accuracy, passing the ball, not turning the ball over, Buffalo will win.
Hi, Barbara.
Josh Allen will throw interceptions. Josh Allen will fumble the ball. And we've seen it this year alone. I think he's only gone 2 or 3 games where he hasn't committed a turnover.
Right.
And the stat is out there. Is he not 18-0 or 17-0 all time, or at least in his last 18 games, whatever the case may be, where he does not turn the ball over once? So you think it's an easy formula, easier said than done, because like you mentioned, Josh Allen just takes on the weight of the world on his shoulders.
Yeah. And I think that showed, we had him on one of our fantasy leagues this year. And that showed him he was either there and won us a shit ton of points, or I was like, shit, I should have played Tua.
From a fantasy perspective, he's also going to get you 700 yards for the year for rushing. So,
yeah,
Yeah,
He killed
so
it, but
he
yeah.
kills it in that way, but he's also going to
Right.
throw 2 to 3 interceptions as he's
Right,
done.
which kills you.
Which,
Yeah.
but then he still manages to win the
Can't you say-
MF game. Pardon the French, Barbara. Hello, welcome to the
Oh,
show.
she's fine. That's Dave's sister.
can't you say that about a lot of quarterbacks, though? I mean, you're talking about Josh Allen, but I thought you were talking about Dak Prescott because that's.
Oh my gosh.
Is it kind of the same, Dan Rod?
Well,
I mean,
to be fair to Dak Prescott, he cleaned it up in the regular season.
We're
The
not allowed to talk
postseason
about.
was a much different animal.
We're not allowed to talk about Zach.
Again, as a Cowboys fan, I'm not going to lie. As soon as Green Bay won the toss and elected to receive, I was like, we are in trouble because if they come down the field and they take a lead, I don't know how this is going to go. And then it went exactly how everyone thought it was going to go, 27-0. Although, is that the biggest blowout finishing in a close score anyone's ever seen? Like, it felt like the Cowboys were one throw away from making it really close, but they never had a chance to win that game after the first 3 minutes.
Even Des Bryant was like in La La Land because he put $10,000 on it, right? And Des Bryant was tweeting out at that time. He was saying, "What's going on?" And then the third quarter, he was so delusional. He said, "Like, hey, one more score, we're back in it." And it was like, "Come on, Des."
No, that game was never close.
He's already dead
after the first quarter.
Yeah.
Well, and it certainly wasn't as close as the final score ended up, 48-32. I mean, that even though that's not that close to the score,
no, but the end that was a pad fest.
They were 3 to 4 touchdowns ahead. It seemed like all game.
That was a pad fest at the end.
Yeah.
That was just it was like, let's get some, let's get out there and finish strong in the playoffs. Let's try to.
Well, it got so bad that the Dolphins put in their, or not the Dolphins, excuse me, the Packers put in their backup players. The Cowboys scored on a backup defense. We saw was that Kyle Clifford came out and took some snaps at quarterback. Then they got a little panicky, put Jordan Love back in. He actually threw 2 incomplete passes, which cost him his perfect quarterback rating.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's right.
Like,
so they
why,
kind of ruined
why do you put these guys on the bench and then bring them back? Like, it got to the point where they got nervous. And the onside kick almost worked once, but didn't.
Hey,
right.
Let me pop this up on the screen here. So while we're talking, we move a little fast, so I want to make sure to support different media materials with what we're talking about. But why shouldn't they fire Mike McCarthy?
Well, I think I need a few more days to not overreact to this, but
okay.
I think they shouldn't fire Mike McCarthy because he's the offensive coordinator. He's worked with Dak this season, and he's shown that he can have Dak play at a high level, and not the last game withstanding. His connection with CeeDee Lamb was one of the best in football. Jake Ferguson, the tight end, scored 3 touchdowns on Sunday, whatever day that was. Yeah, Sunday. Too many games this weekend. So I think the offense looked good. I just think, and we've talked about it all year, the running game was not good. It was not what they needed to complement. And the crazy thing is Mike McCarthy started this year saying, the reason they got rid of Kellen Moore is because he felt they didn't run the football enough. Well, they realized maybe Kellen Moore wasn't the problem. It's the running game is the problem. And how many times were the Cowboys, even on Sunday, inside the 4-yard line, and they didn't even try to run the football? Like, Ezekiel Elliott would have been an automatic, give him the ball twice, see what happens.
Right.
He probably would have got it. But
punch it in.
So why should they not fire Mike McCarthy again? I just think he has a strong relationship with Dak Prescott, and I think he's got a good handle on what this offense can do well and maybe know the changes. Now, I preface that by saying this is an unprecedented year with the number of coaching candidates and big-name coaching candidates that are available to potentially take the job in Dallas or somewhere else. There's not too many years where a Bill Belichick, a Jim Harbaugh,
right,
a Mike Vrabel, a Pete Carroll, or, and I'll say this as well, in Dallas, now the defense was terrible on Sunday. Everyone's raved about what Dan Quinn has done for that defense, but can you sacrifice losing Dan Quinn if he decides to finally take a head coaching job this year instead of staying in Dallas for a third time and maybe make him your head coach? Because we have heard Micah Parsons say something to the effect of, I will go wherever Dan Quinn goes, which is a scary thought.
That is a scary thought. And all the teams that Dan Quinn has actually been a part of, and here we are again, kind of full circle, like the 5th team now. So what about you guys? What about when you saw that Dallas game? Were you surprised that it ended? Married couple, were you surprised that they didn't move forward as good a team as they had, or were you?
I was happy.
Same old Dallas.
I'm not a huge Dallas fan.
Yikes.
I'm not, but I was surprised to see Green Bay do so well. I have to say.
Because Jordan Love, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We're not getting back into that from last week, are we?
Will it do it?
I'm not a Packers fan.
I'm not either. But
Nor am I a Dallas. I dislike Dallas almost as much as I dislike Kansas City and New England. So it was good to see. Sorry, Dan Rod, but it was.
That's okay. I don't think either of you are just in line with most of America and probably North America.
Right.
Where
Yeah.
I don't think if you took a poll, who would you like to see lose the most? Dallas would always be number one with a bullet.
Oh yeah,
True.
So-
It's true.
absolutely would.
It's true.
They absolutely would. Them, then New England.
Which is a conundrum
Then
because you're like,
put your team in.
how can it be America's team, but at the same time everybody wants to topple the empire? It's like, okay, all right, fine. But so you guys were happy. You're not a big Dallas fan, but neither of you guys, and that makes room for you to now. Who is Tampa Bay playing now in the next?
We'll play Detroit.
The good part
Playing
about
the
it is
Detroit Lions.
Green Bay gets to go to San Francisco, and if Green Bay actually can do this again against San Francisco, and if Tampa can take care of business in Detroit, that means that Tampa would host the finals of the NFC playoffs if those two things happen. Now, is that going to happen? Who knows?
Probably not.
That's going to be a big if because San Francisco looks great. But that week off always gets me. You know what? All the people are like, oh, you get that week off, especially now that there's only one team in each division that has it, one in the AFC, one in the NFC. There used to be two that would get a bye week, and now only one has it. I don't necessarily think it's a positive thing. I think especially teams coming in with momentums, like the Buffalo Bills, like the Houston Texans, even like Tampa Bay, they've had a couple good games. And in fact, before that, they did lose one, but towards the end of the season, they're coming into their own. They're looking better than they did. I don't think a week off helps teams that are coming into their own and doing that. I don't know that it will hurt necessarily either the teams that had the bye week enough, but I definitely don't necessarily see it as a good thing for a lot of teams. What do you guys think?
Well, a 2 seed I'm sorry, Dan, but like was it a 2 seed?
I just
lost to a
used to
7
have the
seed,
bye.
right?
Well, yeah, for the first time, I was just gonna say as a 2 seed, if there was only 2 wild card teams, the Cowboys wouldn't have lost last weekend.
Right.
We would have at least had to see them lose this weekend, but they would have made the divisional round. They would have had the bye. But yes, we could just get the history out of the way. The number 2 seed losing to a 7 seed for the first time ever. Yes, that happened this weekend.
Any talk this week of any of our teams is salt in the wound. It's very fresh, and how I was extremely prepared for it because I chose them to lose all the way out the Dolphins, but it still doesn't hurt, as much as it should because I know what's going to happen. I almost can. There's no way. Do you remember when I did the Super Bowl predictions back and you were like, "Whoa, this is like way too early for this." Remember? And I said Dallas, Miami.
Yep.
That was on purpose. That was
December 5th.
That was on purpose.
You were jinxing both teams.
No, it wasn't about a jinx. It was like I wanted to see if we get both out bounced early. Then what kind of emotions that would spark in us. And honestly, it's a lot of pain that I feel from Dan.
Which loss to you hurt more, losing to Buffalo Week 18 or losing in Kansas City in the playoff game?
Week 18. Week 18, because Week 18 would have meant our first division title since 2008, I believe, with Chad Pennington. It would have meant hope. It would have meant everything. It would have meant the fact that we can, win against the big teams and the big.
Well,
and it would tell me that I have more than a game manager, which I feel like I do.
Let's be real. AC had both your team and my team taking care of business in Week 18. Buffalo wouldn't even be in the playoffs. They wouldn't be in it because I had your team won and my team had to win because as soon as my team lost, it just gave it to them anyway. They were in regardless of a win or a loss. But if Jacksonville could have won against the stupid Titans, who I knew had their number, in fact, which is a bigger meltdown, Philadelphia's or Jacksonville's? That's what I want to ask later. But then they wouldn't even be in the playoffs right now. And here they are with potential going to. I mean, they've got another home field game. And depending on next week, might have another one.
And I don't know the exact odds, but I would assume they're probably the 4th or 3rd favorite now to win the Super Bowl overall. I think San Francisco will be number 1, Baltimore might be 2, and then Kansas City or Buffalo would be 3 or 4.
For sure. Yeah, we're gonna
take
a look at that.
You know what I saw today that was crazy? I don't know where on the NFL Network or why this was, but they had power rankings, and I don't know where they came from, but Dallas was ranked 1 spot ahead of Tampa Bay in power rankings. And I was like, how does that make sense? I have no idea.
America's team. It's God moves in mysterious ways. Let's see. Brandon joined. Let's see if he's has any. Hey, Brandon, are you here? All right. You give me the thumbs up when you're ready. I will unmute you. That way we can.
Well, and should we jump to the only winner of the week and hear from a perspective of a fan that's excited?
Sure. Before we move over to, I just have a one thing to play for Dan Rod, if that's okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Oh boy.
No, it's nothing. It's nothing bad. It's nothing bad. In fact, it's something that's going to hype you up.
Oh, Jimmy.
It's going to hype you up. This guy. This is
clearly didn't play in the locker room during halftime. It
didn't. Are you sure? This is one of the fieriest things I've seen a silver fox do. But holy shit, look at this guy.
I don't need to have people pointing the fingers one thing or another. You get your rear end in there and you play the way you know how to play. We can win the game. We're going to open it up. We're going to go fast tempo. Defense, get after Jordan Love. You can't give him that much time. You do what you're supposed to do, we'll win this game.
All right. That's got Michael fired. He's got everybody fired.
So this is halftime, and it's already kind of out of hand. People are like, okay, underestimating Jordan Love. And then I really like that speech. Does he still work for Dallas? This gentleman works for Fox, yeah?
Jimmy Johnson, up until recently, wasn't even being acknowledged by Dallas in the Ring of Honor. He just got put in. I thought that broke the curse. Now, here's a better question. Bill Belichick's 72. I think Pete Carroll's 73. Jimmy Johnson only 80 years old. Why can't he come back and coach the Cowboys?
Right.
Jerry, you already buried the hatchet. Bring Jimmy back.
There you go.
Well, I was checking in with Brandon. Brandon, you with us? I'm going to unmute. Brandon? You with us, bud? Hey, there he is. How's it going? Let's see. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Sure. Can everybody else hear
you?
It's low. It's low.
Yeah. You hear me through the mic now?
Oh yeah. This is closer to the mic is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
weird,
huh?
I can hear you through the speakers on my things. I can't get my headset thing to work.
Can you hear us though?
Good to be back.
Great to see you. We were just discussing everybody's horrible weekend except for Sam. She did fantastic, and you can see the banner in the back there, blazing red. And somebody had to do something this weekend. We just saw
Buccaneers end up being the best one.
Brandon, we'll play this back for you. We were talking about Dallas, and before we got to her, because we were talking about the Tampa Bay game, we're going to play this again because I thought it was great. Have you seen this?
I don't need to have people pointing the fingers one thing or another. You get your rear end in there and you play the way you know how to play.
Granddad wants you to play faster.
You look like you're ready to cut someone right then and there.
Bro, he's going to have an aneurysm. Papa.
We're going to open it up. We're going to go fast tempo. Defense, get after Jordan Love. You can't give.
Hey. I'm like ready. I'm like, make him the coach again.
What do you?
That's what I just said.
As the last leg to join, but honestly, we've formed Voltron. What do you think about what happened with? What do you think would happen with Dallas? And tell Dan Rod what you want to say to him face to face after a season like this.
Man, probably one of the biggest, choke artists of all time. Usually, it's hard to kind of. It's hard to keep
topping ourselves.
Yeah, it was, but that was even something more because there's no other time when you could play a 9-win team that is with the young at home. You're undefeated at home. 12, you couldn't line it up better. It almost seemed like you would almost think that they had money on the other team, kind of a thing, right? You're like, man, they got money on Packers because they're playing like, that's probably coaching, because the talent they're more talented than Green Bay. So what it did was they got out coached. And then when they pulled their hearts out, and it showed that there's really no leadership on the team, and because there was no one to kind of galvanize that, and they ran those horrible, basically what was like those triple slants concepts. They knew they were running. They kept jumping on them, and it was like he couldn't change it up. And so you have to fire him, just because you can't bring that back. And so the sad part is that it's going to end up being probably one of the best teams built that never even got to an NFC Championship game. They got all pros all over the team, but it shows you that in NFL coaching is like a third of it, right? Where in other sports it's maybe like like a tenth or something, right? Like football is where you can actually win with the X's and O's more than any other sport, right? And so I think the Cowboys are having to reel because that's probably the best Cowboy team you're going to have, because now you have to pay these guys, and you're going to start.
Well, yeah, and everybody's a year older. You have to pay your guys exactly.
And you're going to lose
Rookies
some
are going to come up
and things of that nature. And so basically, they'll be a worse version of themselves trying to get further, and they're not bad enough to rebuild, but they won't be good enough to add on to the better NFC teams that are going to be going on next year. So,
okay,
I guess the best thing for them is that the Eagles look just as bad, and so that division is, they can always still win that division because it's
wide open now.
Yeah,
but of course, we talked about this a long time ago, and we mentioned it. No repeat winner in that division since 2004. So
I thought the Cowboys would win it, and they choked in it. I think the best thing for the Cowboys is the Eagles' total collapsing to kind of take, it's always like, hey, don't look at us, look at them, kind of.
Oh yeah, it was a benefit they put on it, but...
like, oh man, it was like the Cowboys like, thank God, because I can't handle a week of this. So the Eagles gave them some cover, right?
Now it's both teams are like, should we fire our coach and get Bill Belichick? Now the one thing you did say was coaching was a problem. So you say the Cowboys, this is the best team they ever had, but maybe with better coaching, they still could be a better version of themselves next year. So there is room to
I don't think Bill Belichick. I think there's one coach they got to get, right?
And now you're caught up. Now you're caught up, Brandon. Yes or no?
I think you get Jim Harbaugh.
McCarthy's gone.
Money at Harbaugh, and I think Harbaugh. Funny enough, is I think Harbaugh might turn that kid Trey Lance into the Colin Kaepernick thing.
Nah.
I
did think that on Sunday. I'm like, we still got
the
Trey
NFC
Lance.
Championship game. And that night, people don't remember that Niners team wasn't the greatest thing when they were firing Mike Singletary. So, like, he gets the maximized play. He gets the most out of maximized teams. They got to go after Harbaugh. You don't want Bill Belichick. He might get the defense in order, but the offense will still be plain. Then all of a sudden, you got Josh McDaniels running your offense. It looks stale.
Oh God! That's the worst thing that can possibly happen.
And
then, of course, I heard in my household, well, if you bring in Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels, you might as well bring in Jimmy Garoppolo too to run that offense. So.
Right. Just it's always New England light every since the dynasty.
Worse because you don't get Jimmy G, because Jimmy G really didn't run that offense that much. He's more came from the Shanahan. You'll get Brian Hoyer. You get all 42 Hoyer, right?
Get Mac Jones. We'll get Mac Jones from New England. We'll just
you get all the and so they got some choices to make. What do you want to pay Dak Prescott? $59 million. 59.
And he was taking a pay cut this already. So this year to get people like Brandon Cooks, to get people like Stephon Gilmore. So people actually were there because of that.
For Brandon Cook or Stephon Gilmore on Sunday.
Right.
They both had their moments of I don't know.
Okay. Well, I know. I responded.
Like all that yapping, all the podcasts and all that talk, and it's like, man, just too many no-shows. I didn't see the presence on there. He got his lunch taken from him, but I never seen a team out coached like that, like where you can actually see it in live. There was like the one guy where the guy's wide open, that tight end, like this. It was what they said they tracked it. It was the most wide open a player has ever been in 40 years. Mm-hmm. Closest player, 17 yards, right?
Yeah, well, it's like you throw up a lollipop. Jordan Love, he made a great play. He saw the receiver was open, threw up a lollipop under pressure, but the ball floated in the air. The guy stopped, caught it like a punt, still had the time to turn around,
and then make a football move.
So he's that open because you're like, okay, well, somebody make the tackle. I really think something happened there with the defense. Like Dan Quinn had a game plan, changed it, or they just didn't call a confident defense. They looked like they were scared of something that Green Bay could do, and it just didn't make sense. Even early in the game, Romeo Doubs over the middle like 3 times in a row, first downs on third down. Made no sense. Deron Bland got a a holding call on the second play of the game. I think the Cowboys only had 2 good defensive plays, the very first play of the game and the second one, and they got a penalty on the second one, and it was all downhill from there.
Yeah.
All right.
Giving up that 7-0, I think when a team, this in the playoffs, it's weird when you're down by just one touchdown.
Not a team. When Dallas, any other team going down by 7 wouldn't have mattered.
On that first drive, you have a different game, but it felt like when they scored that, it was like their heart started racing, and they got out of themselves, I think, and so, which is pretty mentally weak then, and that's
it was like there was one sentence that said the only way we lose today is if, and the one thing they pulled out of like the magic 8 ball was we go down 7-0, and as soon as it happened, they're like, oh no,
God damn it.
Well, I guess it happened.
All right. Well, enough misery. Let's do this. I want to talk. I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, please.
No,
go.
I was just going to ask. Think back to the beginning of the season when the 4 of us boys are on here. So excited about the possibilities of all of us, of the teams and what they could do. Now, Brandon, at the beginning, you had a little bit of I don't know. You just go ahead and lose the rest. But then some things happened. You got a little bit excited. I was very excited until Thanksgiving. And then I took as big of a fall or bigger than the Eagles. I don't know. We didn't make the playoffs. That's the only reason I call it bigger. But maybe it's not. I mean, we lost the same amount of games, same amount of time.
Yeah, but get a little bit of a better draft pick out of it.
And a little, but too late. But now it's just the 4 of us going, this stupid game. This is a dumb game.
I'm focusing on the Miami Heat now. I'm a Miami Heat fan.
Right?
Why do we do this every year?
Oh, I'm used to this since 1995. So at this point, I'm just going to enjoy the rest of the playoffs and enjoy some great football.
I'm going to make
some
money.
I've been used to it since the same amount of time or before.
I'm going to make some money.
Worse when you have a 12-win team or you have a 13-win team, and then you it almost feels better when you have the 5-win team and it. But when you every week it builds up to this might be our year, or at least we'll get this far.
Yeah, I know.
Flat wild card weekend is always tough.
Imagine being an Eagles fan right now.
Well, I was going to say just to pile on Brandon a little bit more. People are comparing this Eagles team that started off 10-1 as similar to his Vikings team a year ago. A team that had a great record to start the year, but were they really as good as their record thought they were?
Yeah, but it's funny. I don't think it was because the Vikings were more known for the margins, how they won, right? They would the
3-point games or something like that, 1-score games
and stuff like that. This team was beating good teams, right? Like this team was beating the Chiefs and beating the Cowboys. They beat some quality guys,
but not by big margins. 1 or 2 big games. And most of the games were 1-score games as well.
But I think also too, it was like I never seen a team turn on their selves. You know what I'm saying? Where it was like, I almost got to a point you saw on the sideline. Look, they hate each other. Look, they hated the coach. They hated being there. It was a weird feel.
Oh, this is a great one. There's no shortage of blame being thrown around in Philadelphia on Tuesday morning. The Eagles are left to lick their wounds and wonder what the hell happened after going to Tampa Bay, facing the worst team in the playoffs, and proceeding to get dog walked by Baker Mayfield.
So anyway, everyone, my beautiful, lovely wife, Sam, I am.
Oh, stop.
Oh, you go on.
Take that winner's walk.
Yeah,
because nobody thought that
I didn't think it happened. Last week when we were talking about it, I was like, no way Tampa's winning, especially against the Eagles. I don't care what kind of run they've had. Tampa doesn't look all that great. Now we've had a good run, towards the end of the season, but it's still been tough, even making touchdowns. We've been making field goals and whatever. And even last night, first score was a field goal. I'm like, we need more than that. I also said they shouldn't shoot the cannons for a field goal. I'm like, it's not a touchdown. But
she said that when we were there, actually.
I did. I'm like, it's like a participation trophy.
Something happened when you guys went to that Jacksonville-Tampa Bay game where obviously the Jags went downhill after that. And
everything just swirled out of control. Yeah, chaos.
It's all me. I mean, I'll take credit for it.
What a fucking trip to what a vortex of a trip, dude. You brought back the juju. So anyway, let's check this out. So you deserve your flowers, hon. You gotta hear your boy talk here.
Okay.
So Mayfield discussed his 3 TD game. It was masterful.
Played a hell of a game.
Baker, the fans tonight were all outraged. Stadium. At the end of the first quarter, you were trying to pump them up. Can you just speak to how important it was that everyone came out here in Tampa Bay?
Yeah, big difference in tonight's game compared to the first one with how many Eagles fans were here tonight. Tampa showed up, and so we appreciate that. Unfortunately, it was the last one here, so but it was electric. We could feel the energy, and we fed off that.
And that was the boom you guys were talking about. So every time,
So
for people who don't know, right?
Baker either foreshadowing they're going to lose this week or San Francisco's going to win this week. If it's the last
Exactly.
Right.
He could have another game. Like I meant anyway.
And Sam, please tell me you bet on anytime touchdowns from David Moore and Trey Palmer in this one, because we all saw that coming.
Plus 9 million. Like, like, come on. And then, God, but so much happened. So what other games?
Well, especially this game, I would say is that have you ever seen any broken tackles? Like it felt like the team didn't want to even be there. And when you lose, I think we give Nick Sirianni when his first year there, when he started to implement his offense, the team was very horrible. They were stagnant, didn't really run it well. They bring in Shane Steichen, quarterback coach from the Chargers. He gets Hurts to play better and gets into the MVP season. They lose Steichen to the Colts. When they have to run that Nick Sirianni offense, it looks rough. And so,
Yeah, this is the one ahead of you. You're totally right. Yep, when they made that change is when.
I think Shane Steichen had a lot more to do with that, getting that offense together, and Josh Gannon getting the defense together. When he lost both coordinators, Sirianni's not that kind of a coach where he's an X's and O's guy, he's not an Andy Reid.
Yeah.
So, is this a warning to the Detroit Lions? Because a lot of talk right now is both of their coordinators, Johnson and Glenn, I believe, are hot coaching candidates for this
1,000%.
cycle round.
Yeah.
So this could be
Johnson,
Detroit.
When he had
Keep
Anthony
an eye
in
on.
the first year, they were horrible.
How do y'all feel about we can do fact or fiction now if you guys want to, but fact or fiction, yeah, let's do that. So fact or fiction, you guys don't all have to have one, but it's been on my mind since the Tampa Bay game. Baker Mayfield will make it to the NFC Championship game. Ladies first.
I'd say fiction.
What do you think? You don't know?
So are they going to win next week? That's basically what he's asking.
Yeah.
Are they going to beat Detroit
I
in
don't
Detroit?
know. Gosh, I really don't know. I'd like to say yes, but Detroit's doing pretty. I mean, unless they.
Detroit has never had this before. They've never, first of all, hosted 2 playoff games in the same season
There we
before.
go.
That's historic.
Yeah.
And Detroit has never won going into a conference championship. They never gone to a conference championship game, or they did back in the 90s when there was only 2 rounds, but they've never won to go to a Super Bowl. So this is
I think they
uncharted
fight
waters
hard
for
this
Detroit.
time. Yeah, I think they fight hard. And I mean, they've always fought. I mean, whatever. But I'm just saying, I think this year could be the year. I mean, they're gonna play us tough. And I don't know if Mayfield and Tampa Bay are going to have the magic they did this week. So,
I guess that was my point. I guess I wanted to get to the root of, like, do you guys feel like this keeps being a fluke that Baker Mayfield is this guy, or because eventually he's going to be this guy? Like, you know what I mean? He's always so scrappy. As long as he has a good defense, he's given everything. He has. He puts his body on the line. I don't know how long he can do it for, but that's kind of what.
Well, he's still playing hurt. I mean, his ankle, his ribs. I mean, he even got stepped on this last game.
Good.
And,
Yeah.
I think we have a chance. But it's hard to tell.
You have a better chance of winning than the Dolphins, the Cowboys, the Vikings, or the Jaguars.
I just can't.
You still have a chance.
He's so salty. He's so fucking
Steelers,
salty.
the Eagles, the Commanders.
Hang on.
If you'd have asked me when the season started, would
The
we
Jets,
still
the
would we be in the
Patriots.
playoffs? Yeah.
Bengals.
I've said all year that Baker's going to do well in that
Chargers, the
system in
Broncos.
Tampa Bay. But here's they didn't win that just by Baker Mayfield didn't win that game. He played
He threw
hard.
3
came
touchdowns.
He played good. Hold on. That defense won that game. That defensive scheme and the plans that they had to rush that quarterback, and I saw it against Trevor Lawrence. They did the exact same thing. They did it way better last night.
They did.
But that defense, they blitzed 75% of the time and threw that quarterback completely off balance. They had no shot after that. If they go up into Detroit and do that same thing, they've got a chance to win that game. And let's be real. Here's the other thing I've always said. Detroit is going to remember their Detroit at some point. And let's just hope it's next week.
But they don't
I
get
will-
to play the Eagles secondary. Like the
Right.
Eagles did tackle. The Eagles did like there was so many missed tackles it wasn't funny.
It was-
and like the one thing I would say this is that I don't know how much the Buccaneers won or the Eagles quit. It was after that safety. It almost felt like they just packed their bags and went. And
okay,
I
but
don't think you're going to get that in Detroit. That Detroit team's gritty.
They're not going to quit, but their secondary are not world beaters
They
either.
won 9-0 to the Panthers. So
that's true.
What you just said falls right along with what I just said. Is that okay? Yeah, they were terrible. They didn't tackle at all, and that makes it made those 3 touchdown passes happen.
Yeah.
It made Baker Mayfield does enough. He's a great quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. He's a good quarterback.
But he's more than a game manager, right? Like that was my
and
question.
They let him be himself. He is. They let him be himself there, and he's coming into his own. But not only that, the defense of Tampa Bay did not miss tackles like that. They were on them, and even when they were blitzing 7 people, that 1 or 2 guys that they had made that tackle to only let it go for 2 yards.
But Detroit, there's no injuries right there. They have a hell of an offensive line, and I don't know.
Jared Goff's on fire.
They whooped them in Tampa. They go and then they play even better in that dome.
Yeah, that's what the next.
I just can't see. I would almost say like they're gonna probably lose by double digits. But here's the part is, but that's not a bad thing. Look at Tampa Bay. Even making the playoffs was like,
right.
Crazy. Yeah.
They've like them getting to the divisional round against.
None of you all picked them.
I've
been watching the show.
All I'm gonna say is we've heard this narrative about a team that wasn't very good going to a dome stadium against a team that was heavily favored, and the team that had nothing to lose, playing with house money, seemed to come out on top. So why can't Tampa Bay come in and win? Baker Mayfield had 337 yards passing, and how many drops did Tampa Bay have last night?
5.
Mike Evans wasn't big on the stat line, but you go into Detroit, the weather's not going to
dropped at 3.
The weather's not going to be a problem if Baker Mayfield gets some time, because Tampa Bay also has a good O-line. Remember, they built that for Tom Brady, so that could be a true game with offensive firepower on both ends. We almost had it with the Rams and the Lions on Sunday night. The defenses came out in the second half and played much better on both sides, and the second half it all got bogged down. But who knows? Tampa Bay and Detroit could both be going out there. Last one to possess the ball could win this one.
And you can really give the game ball. Yeah.
But if Foles blitzes like this and they pick up the blitz, Goff is going to eat them alive.
Oh yeah, but then they'll just have to match. Mike Evans will get open downfield at some point.
That I will say them.
But they also have Levante David.
Right too. Take the over.
So
yes.
Yeah.
They have Levante David, and you can give the game ball to Levante over Baker's 3 touchdowns, actually.
I agree.
He had an incredible game. So to play devil's advocate there.
Well, they had no AJ Green. They were doubling Smith. They couldn't get Goddard in there. You get Detroit at its full ample weight. Like if it was in Tampa, I'd feel a little better about Tampa just going in that dome.
However, Mayfield completed 22 of 36 passes for 337 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. I mean, that is hot. That's hot.
Yeah.
And
I guess that secondary, I think I can get a couple passes in.
That's true. However, let's put some context to it.
For the whole year.
Baker had injuries and ribs that didn't even let him practice the entire week at all. So as Buck fans, I'm talking to you, Sam. As Buck fans, you're probably aware of the situation, but if you just happen to tune in Monday night's game without any knowledge, you'd probably not know that the guy was injured. He's balling out there. So that's to put context to it. The guy's scrappy. The guy, if you get him a good offensive line, he can throw a fucking laser. And is he? I don't know. Here's another part: is he living up to his high draft pick? I think he is now. Like he just had to get the right fit.
The right, yeah.
And I think
I'm really hoping that
perfect.
The Detroit game's a good one. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be a blowout. I want it to be close and fun to watch. Either way.
Deal though, right? I can't remember Baker's contract. And so
he's got a year. So I don't know if we're going to re-sign him.
Oh, absolutely.
They'll re-sign him now.
Yeah.
I would.
He'll get probably that 3-year, Smith kind of deal around $30 million. I don't, you can't throw the truck at him, but we think to try to keep him and see what you got there.
Dude, don't quit though. The dude don't fucking quit, and I'd rather have a guy like that on my team.
Sam, fully hypothetical here though. So Tom Brady joins the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. His first year, he wins the Super Bowl. If somehow, some way, Tampa Bay wins the Super Bowl, Baker Mayfield's first year, how can you justify just not bringing in a new quarterback every year?
They all have to be number 1 picks, though. They have to be number 1 picks.
Tom Brady was not number 1.
Tom Brady was not.
No. I'm talking about Baker Mayfield.
Oh, yes.
But just bring in a random quarterback every year and just capture that same magic. It seems to somehow work in Tampa Bay.
The Colts tried it for 5 years and it didn't seem to be magic.
It doesn't work in Indianapolis. Only in Tampa Bay.
You can put fucking Johnny Unitas in Indianapolis now. They would. I don't understand, man. They were
quarterback.
They're in a dome. Like,
how big of a disadvantage is it for both Buffalo, even though they're at home, and Tampa Bay on the road? Now, obviously, the NFL did them both a favor by putting them on Sunday on purpose. But how big of a disadvantage? Because both those teams had to play on Monday. They get one less day of rest, or even in some cases, I think 2 less days of rest, taking on the Chiefs and the Lions next Sunday. Is there any disadvantage to playing on Monday and that turnaround now coming in too?
You know, if you're going to stay home, then you don't get to travel. And they played Pittsburgh, who was already done when they got there.
Yeah, you wake up in your bed and play a football game. That's what football players want to do. They want to get home field advantage to wake up in their bed and see their kids.
Like Mason Rudolph, that was like a walkthrough.
Kiss your wife and go to work. I think the advantage is, I think the wild card teams have a good advantage because there's something to be said about having to play back up against the wall football every week for a month, as opposed to having some time to think about it, get cold,
that's true,
overthink, overplan, change something at the last moment, have some kind of a brilliant, feather in somebody's cap and go, well, you're right. That's the way we'll beat them after weeks of planning. It's just, I think it's better there's something to be said about staying warm and battle tested throughout the playoffs,
I also think you forget about the buys. And so that's always something where you forget about the people who have bye week. And then when they play and you're like, oh, that's how good the Niners are. Oh, hey, that's how good the Ravens are, and then so they remind you why they got the bye.
Yeah. You were going to say something, Sam?
No, I was just going to say, to your point, AC, I think the momentum of, okay, now these teams are, let's take Green Bay going against San Francisco. They've got this momentum. They've got this win. And San Francisco does have the bye. I mean, they've got to, they're practicing and whatever, but it was a relaxing week for them. You know what I mean? They didn't have to be in game time mode. I think,
she's right.
I think momentum's a big thing.
It's a thing not only in games. I mean, you can see
but
momentum
it's for your
switch in front of you,
right.
in front of your eyes during a game. But I think it's when, like I was talking earlier, when a team like Buffalo or a team like Tampa Bay right now, or a team like Houston, when they do have that momentum and they're winning and it's fun and they're got each other's backs, I think that is a very positive thing. And I think taking a bye week could be a negative thing. Now, the two teams that took that bye week are obviously the best teams based on their record, based on a lot of different things. But I don't necessarily see that as a positive going up when they have to go up against one of these teams. I think, Houston's going to go into Baltimore, and Baltimore, I think, is the team to beat. But CJ Stroud and that group, Houston's got a shot at that game. And it's going to be cold weather. It's up in Baltimore. But you know what? CJ Stroud's no joke. And he hasn't been the entire time. I mean, he should absolutely win Rookie of the Year.
With extremely young wide receivers, with kids like Nico Collins, just kids that are just like out of the box, straight out of the, college, where he's making them into stars. So that happened really quick. And I think I just heard this fact today, and not just because Dan Rod joined us again, but I think that the Houston Texans have more playoff wins now than the Dallas Cowboys have in this millennia.
Is that true?
Very possible.
I'm sorry.
I mean, they've had like Matt Schaub and Andre Johnson.
I'm sorry. I really I love Darth Daniel. I really like.
And the Texas Rangers have won a World Series, and so have the Houston Astros.
Yeah.
But I don't know why I got disconnected for a second there.
It's all good.
But mentioning, playing in cold weather in Baltimore, but CJ Stroud did play at Ohio State, so at least he's played in a cold weather state.
Yeah,
he's
sure
used
has.
to it a little bit. But.
And that, going back to the Tua thing, that has something to do with it, right? Like Brandon, my Tua thing earlier that you missed it was the kid went to Hawaii, played in the deep South, and then plays in Miami. He's not built for cold weather situations. We had a conversation about that before you joined, and look at somebody. See, now we're flipping it. We're like, well, he's going to be okay because he played in Ohio State. And the inclement weather doesn't bother him. How much does that play a factor, Brandon? Like,
I don't. I never looked at him and go, hey, he can't play in cold weather. It just looked
did.
It looked like the whole team couldn't play in cold weather. Miami never does that.
We were down 6 defensive starters.
There's a difference when it's cold weather and that kind of cold weather.
Right.
Well, and also too is like Mike McDaniels has to do a better job of calling plays. Like,
agreed.
they just did not do a good. Like, they left him out there. It seems
He was
like
cold
they don't
too.
there's no easy throws. They don't do the dink and dunks. When you're in cold weather, you have to like shrink the game down. You're not going to get those deep balls. You're not going to get those. Like, he's trying to throw like 10-yard, 15-yard slants. They've just been doing screens, tight end kind of run, like get the ball going.
Wide receiver screens, always.
Kansas City was trying to do, and what Miami was trying to do. Miami's like, no matter our weather, we're still going to run our Miami offense, and it's like, you don't get to run that in the weather. You got to shrink the offense. It's going to be the tight end's going to get a lot of catches, balls to the a lot of screens, a lot of dump passes. They never have any kind of outlets where the running back is right there. Give it to me. It's like, no, I don't see my deep ball sack.
Right. Yeah, it's
so,
true.
You got to change that a little bit up and stuff because you're not going to be able to get those balls down the field. He's not going to be able to throw in the weather.
The slants and against the wind, man. That wobbly pass that he threw.
That's the only offense you got. It's like you don't have a small man's offense. You can't shrink the score. Like, and I thought they were still trying to run their offense in that weather. But Tua has to be better. He doesn't feel the pressure. He squeezes up too soon.
I don't want it. I think I'm out on the Tua train. I even got a Tua Tagovailoa jersey this year that I wore. After
wild card losses hurt a little bit, and so what you do is you're like, get him out of here.
No, but this is actually a get him out of here year because either he plays out his 5th-year option or he doesn't. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but then you're too good to go back in the draft, and the stopgap, loser veteran quarterbacks is just terrible. Because then you're getting Carson Wentz's and Ryan Tannehill's.
Ryan Fitzpatrick. Let's bring back to Ryan Tannehill. Bring it back.
Right? What is Russell Wilson doing, right?
Oh my God! Actually, Russell Wilson might be the perfect quarterback for us if you think about it.
But here's my thing: is like what he is now is not always what he will be, and so as long this year was like, oh, he's gonna get concussions all the time. No concussion. This year he has to work on pocket presence and being able to roll out the pocket and deliver passes.
But no offense, Dan. It feels like I'm piling on you. I don't want a Dak Prescott it. I don't want a year 9 experiment. I don't want that.
But it's like if my quarterback doesn't win the Super Bowl in 4 years, I can't be like back to the pot. It takes a while for these quarterbacks to develop. You know what I'm saying? Like Peyton Manning didn't win his first 4 years, except for Tom Brady. A lot of these guys, it takes a while when they start actually getting into. Now, if he was 28, 29, I'd be like maybe, but still early. And I would like to see a veteran backup quarterback, somebody that he could talk to on the sideline, somebody that can really kind of guide him a little bit. I thought that might help because I would think that my biggest thing was go get a Jimmy G. He knows this offense. He's really good, and he's not trying to take the job. And so when he gets on the sideline, someone that kind of galvanize him and get him up. But to have Mike White over there, who knows nothing more than
we're not built to have that kind of quarterback behind Tua. We need that cap space to get an offensive lineman. We should go 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we don't have a first round pick, I don't believe.
But you're $40 million over the cap. You are in hell.
Yeah, we are. So
you don't want to Dak Prescott it, but now you hold the NFL record for the longest playoff win drought. So, I mean, even though Dak Prescott only gets you a wild card win once every 3 or 4 years, I would rather make the playoffs and losing the wild card than not have a playoff win in how many years? 23?
Well, it's funny because Miami went so long without winning anything. Now they get 2 playoff appearances back to back, and they're like, and you're like, well, this would have been for 10 years. This would have been the best you've ever gotten, And so, you remember the Adam Gase and like. What was his name?
The Ryan Tannehill years.
Adam Gase.
Years.
I'm really happy to be here.
So it's like you guys get to the wild card.
Ted Ginn Jr.
and his whole family. We drafted Ted Ginn Jr.'s whole family.
Or
fell forward fast. Was that Joe Philbin? No, that was Cameron.
Like you guys are actually relevant. Instead of just a laughing stock. And so you guys are there. To just throw it to
but some may say, like, if we get into this situation again, the resilient teams, the teams that can overcome and make it a true wild card and not like, oh, we know these guys are going to flounder in the cold weather. Instead of that, like, we should be able to overcome things like that. Maybe get yourself a big 6'4", right-handed, cold weather northern cat that's been there, done that, like Josh Allen that
or with the Buffalo game. Or don't blow the Tennessee game and get the hosting get these guys down to Florida, right? Like it was the old thing was like,
dude, you're not gonna take a dig at both of us.
What did I say?
No, did Brandon just take a dig at both of us? Don't lose a Tennessee game. Don't lose a Buffalo game. Shut
Yeah,
up,
well,
dude.
Mirror match. Mirror match. Yeah, I know.
Tennessee, the way they blew that Tennessee game with 4 minutes to go.
Oh, that was
and
ridiculous.
11
Yeah.
it was hard to watch.
We're getting complacent.
Yeah.
You know, and then they say, hey, look, winner takes all. Buffalo, like that should have been the game where it's like, guys, this is not. When they lost that game, I almost felt like they knew they were going to lose the Chief game. You can almost see it in their eyes. Like, we'll wear the white uniforms. We won't tackle. we'll just get, lollipop. The defense, who actually had most of the starters missing, did better. They kept them the field goals. They were actually fighting. This high-powered offense can't get more than 7 on an underthrown football.
Right.
Tyreek Hill.
What do we? I know we're definitely going to get into the better suite at the end of the game, at the end of the show, because we really I want to do that because I have a couple of ideas.
I think the Packers are going to get blown out, and I put all every money in Kansas City. They're gonna
Let's take a look at while we do that. Let's take a look.
But wait for it.
At the it's here. Not that.
I like how you brought up the millennia earlier, because obviously the last time the Dolphins won a playoff game was the turn of the millennia in 2000.
That's true. Yeah, it's been 24 years. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry. Stop hurting me, please.
It was an OT
picking
game
on Dan,
against the
Rod.
Colts.
My God.
And of course, we're all cheering for Houston because they've appeared in as many Super Bowls as the Detroit Lions or the Jacksonville Jaguars in their history.
That's true. That's true.
What did I say about the Cowboys? Yeah, I said yeah. You're right.
You hate the Cowboys.
Yeah,
you
of course
hate them
I do.
as much as everybody
right.
else.
You're right. I deserved it.
Misery loves company.
Tennessee, the Oilers wearing the old Oilers uniforms.
Dude, did I call that?
Off because it was
Did I call that?
In Houston, you left, you knuckleheads. You can't wear the old uniform.
Yeah, that was bullshit. Did I call that?
Play each other for the uniform? Like the winner gets the throwback uniform the next time they play.
No, it stays with the city.
Yeah,
it stays with the city. You don't wear that.
But the records aren't part of the Houston records.
If you remember us talking about this, we talked about it like week 5 when I found out when they were going to do it. And I was like, all right, so does that make it fair that the Baltimore Ravens get to dress in a Cleveland Browns uniform when they're playing the Browns?
Right.
How confusing would that be? No, that's bullshit. No, they don't get to wear that. They left. They got a whole new everything. Right. Don't throw back to a different team. If you're going to throw back to a team, you can still have the records. You can still do all that. But, you don't wear the uniform of a team that doesn't exist anymore. Hey, you don't do it anymore. Not if they're in a different city.
Sam, do you have that T-shirt, that Orange Crush T-shirt? You can show us again.
Yes,
sure.
it's
Give
right there.
I really want to see that.
Denver.
I bought her a T-shirt last year.
You bought me a T-shirt 4 years ago now.
When Brady started with the Bucs.
started with the Bucs.
Yeah.
Oh man, the old creamsicles.
Yeah,
however, it's Brady's face.
It is Tom Brady's face.
Oh shit.
Shit.
Did Tom Brady approve that T-shirt, or did he have a cease and desist up for those?
I don't know.
I don't know. I will never wear it.
Is that?
I'm gonna get her a Baker Mayfield one.
Is that shirt properly inflated?
Probably not.
I don't know.
I was not happy when we got Tom Brady.
No?
I mean, I was happy with the Super Bowl. But it is,
you wanted more Jameis Winston years?
How many Super
I just
Bowls
don't
would it
like
take for you
Brady.
to love Tom Brady? How many Super Bowls would it have taken for you to start being like, you know what, this guy's all right?
Here's the thing. When he almost threw the trophy in the river, that made him a little bit more likable. I think under Belichick, he had.
Well, if we've ever seen the Married Couple podcast, we know there's a lot of alcohol involved. So obviously,
lots.
Not so much
that. Is true.
Honestly,
Dan Rod acts like he's seen our show.
Right. I'm sure he's heard it a time.
He's there in the background.
I caught the highlights.
But I guess what I'm saying is under Belichick, Tom Brady was buttoned up. I mean, he's still fairly straight-laced and whatever. He was buttoned up, and he was, I don't know,
playing the Patriot rule, the Patriot way.
There was no personality to him at all. Right. Goes to Tampa Bay, he starts to show a little bit more of his personality, which isn't much, but it's better. Right. But he showed his human side.
Shotgun beers.
had we have won that Super Bowl without Gronk and everybody else that they brought in, I mean, no, I don't think so. Because I mean, when Gronk left the next year, we didn't do well either. So you know what I mean. But am I happy that we got a Super Bowl? Sure. Was it even a fun game to watch for me? Yeah, it was. But even that Super Bowl, it was just like wah wah. You know what I mean? So
what would be weird? Like, is there anyone else that you hate, Sam, in the NFL? Like that somebody that you would hate for them to be your
Aaron
quarterback?
Rodgers?
You would hate for Aaron Rodgers to be the quarterback.
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's a douche.
And he doesn't fuck good. Oh, you missed it, guys. Last week we did NFL HQ. She broke news.
Yeah, most of his girlfriends say he's not good in the sack.
Oh,
not at all.
Not Aaron.
He is a horrible lover.
And he has a small penis, yeah?
Yeah. Little pee-pee.
Little pee-pee.
He's compensating.
Oh, wait. I just got an email.
But again, to be fair to Aaron Rodgers, most of the time when he plays, it's about him winning, not about anyone else.
Also, you can talk
very
about
selfish lover.
You can talk about small PPs all you want, but he's always played, and I'll bring it back to the cold weather. That's what I'm saying. So it's cold.
A lot of shrinkage.
Exactly. Also, the interesting
and
fact,
also the quarterback position, you play for about 3 to 4 seconds, and you take 40 seconds off. Like
exactly. You can be quick and get the job done.
There. Yeah.
I'm trying to find.
He's used to handing the ball off to somebody else.
Dan Rod with the jokes.
Well, you're going to see now a lot of old quarterbacks. Now Flacco kind of did good. You're going to see these guys just try to drag these careers out a little more. You know, years ago, Aaron Rodgers would have retired, you know, in the late 30s, 40s. Same with these guys. But now they're kind of sticking out a little longer. And hopefully these new quarterbacks that come in this year start weeding a lot of the bad ones out. This was the worst year for some mediocre quarterbacks.
Oh my God.
Not related to anything we had just talked about in the last 30, 40 seconds. But if Bill Belichick goes to whatever team he decides to coach with and wins the Super Bowl there, will that be a bigger deal than Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay and winning a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay? Or does does it have to be the Dallas Cowboys for it to be bigger for Bill?
I got something for that. Check this out.
And why would Atlanta want Bill Belichick? Why would that city want Bill after what they did to them specifically?
The same reason. Yeah, all right.
I mean, if a team gets Belichick, I mean, granted, he gets to build his own team. However, they're not, you know, like when Tampa got Brady, they built a team around Brady. You know what I mean? Here we go. They built a team to.
Here we go. Is that a shot at Dak Prescott? I see how it is.
No, the key is Justin Fields, my friend.
Already built though. Bruce Arians already kind of had that team humming. They had good wide receivers, they had good running backs. It was just Winston was throwing 30 picks, right? And
Tom Brady brought in Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette.
Like, hey, just don't mess it up, right?
Fournette, Brown,
Gronk, and then they get Antonio Brown, and then they're like this hype. And even then, they don't win the division. It's not like they're like 13-3. The Saints were still a better team than them throughout the year. They just got hot kind of thing in there, and Brady. They started letting Brady's offense come in more because. You know, Arians still was trying to run that risket and biscuit, and that's why they only, you know, they were having these losses. They got blown out by the Saints in that horrible game on Monday night.
Well, between Tampa and the Saints are always, I mean, it's one or the, I mean, they're always going to play each other tough. So, I mean, it is what it is. But
Sam, do you have any information? Did Tom Brady curse the Cowboys because the Cowboys beat Tom Brady in his final playoff game? So was this should we have known as Cowboys fans the next game we played in the playoffs after that? Well, the next two would just be like, what do we have to do to Tom Brady to get a win? Because clearly we sold our souls to beat the GOAT.
I have no idea.
Reach out and find out.
You know, they would kill the Cowboys because they didn't draft Randy Moss.
Yeah,
you know, when they didn't get that in there, they couldn't extend Troy Aikman's career. Irvin was down, and then they never really kind of got back off that. They tried to bring in Parcells. That didn't work out with Bledsoe and then Romo, and so you start noticing that they never could extend it from the 90s into the 2000s. And by the time and then they keep the coaches longer than they should. They kept Garrett longer. They've kept McCarthy longer. When they should fire him, they don't. and then they hold on to him one more year, and then by then it's too late.
Dan Rod, in answer to your question, Bill Belichick goes somewhere else, and we still have Dan Rod. How do we lose the host?
I don't know. But it's still working.
He's like
right, we're still there.
He's a dog.
No, number one, he's not. He's less likable than I don't know anyone. Here's the reason that what you're saying could be true, because, and it is actually probably why we lost the host, because he knew I was going to bring up that the only reason he's going to continue coaching is to go after the coaching record currently held by Don Shula. And when that happens, number one, he's already one of the greatest. He already is the greatest coach. I mean, regardless of whether you can say, was it him or Brady? You know, it was both. It was both. Yeah. And you don't get one without the other. You really don't. I don't care. Brady went on to do it. He did it first. He went away. And as soon as that happened, not as soon as it happened, pretty close, New England kind of became insignificant without him. Brady went, held Tampa Bay, brought a team that was running, mediocre for years and years and years, and brought them to a Super Bowl win. Brandon, you're right. He did it the way he did it. They weren't that great. But you know what? It did. By the end of the year, he got that team together. And the other part is Brady was a coach on the field. He was, as a quarterback, he can see what's going on and literally call plays as they're getting ready to happen based on what he sees on that defense. That's how good he was. He wasn't as athletic as he's always been. He was smart. He was smart enough to win another Super Bowl and almost smart enough to do it again. Had he had Gronk, I think he might have.
But it's easier for a player to pick a team and go, hey,
you're right,
this team, and then win with them, than a coach to go, let me get 53 guys together and then figure out how to win.
I agree.
But that's also why I think Bill needs to go to.
Hey, I'm going to go join this team. They're good. Then for the arts coach, hey, coach, figure this out. And he goes, well, I got salary cap issues. I got players over here. The defense is together. And as good as Belichick is, he's never been an offensive guy, right? He'll get the defense humming. Who he picks to be the offensive coordinator is going to be very key. And so I just don't think handing him the keys to go to any team without knowing that who's going to be running that offense, today's offense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
But I think that's why Bill wants to go to one of these teams that, even though, a team like Philadelphia or Dallas that lost in the playoffs, but still has the pieces in place that maybe just a few changes here or there. Like Tom, when he chose Tampa Bay, all the things we mentioned, they had a pretty decent O-line. They had a decent defense. They had good wide receivers. It's not like he went to a Tampa Bay team that was just the worst team in the NFL. I don't think Tom is going to take a team where he has to rebuild for 4 or 5 years. I think Bill Belichick only has 2 or 3 or 4 years in him.
And he LeBron James'd it. He invited his people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So
how crazy would it be if Bill Belichick took a team and he invited Nick Saban to help coach with him?
Dude.
That would be crazy.
It'd be awesome. But
assistant defensive coordinator. I just think a lot.
The real question is, does Stephen Belichick follow Bill or his friend Gerard Mayo there in New England? Does he stay with Mayo?
Is Gerard Mayo? I don't know. Do you guys talk about this? Is Gerard Mayo the right choice there?
I think so.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think it's very difficult to follow Bill Belichick. So you bring someone in-house, someone that knows the organization, knows how it runs, and is respected by, I think, the team and the fans there. So the expectations for him will be different than if you brought in someone with a more flashy name and resume. And clearly this was the plan because it was built into his contract that he was going to succeed Bill Belichick.
It was, right. Yeah, I did not know that until it actually happened.
I didn't think from Bill Belichick that makes me think he'll get an offense humming to give me any more wins than the next guy. So unless he's bringing Tom Brady with him from 2018, I don't know what he'll bring to, if I had the offense perfect and I just needed him to get the defense together, then I'm good. But if I think I'm going to hand him the team and player personnel picking so he can pick guys like Cole Strange in the first round, I don't want a part of it.
But just think how great Jerry Jones and Bill Belichick together would be. Just the two of them. I think that's what the NFL needs.
They thought that was
the old guys club.
Jerry says I'm not going to do any of the personnel, but then make sure he gets T.O. on him. And then T.O. has, and then Parcells is there at the press conference calling him the player.
The player.
So
that was epic.
Jerry says he stays out of it until he tells Bill, "Hey, I'm going to trade for this guy," and he'd be like, "What? I don't want him." Well, you're taking him. And then you're going to quit.
Well, it's no different than Jerry saying, "Oh, we have full confidence in Mike McCarthy, but we're going to evaluate this on a week-to-week basis in the playoffs."
Right. What?
You go from Bill Belichick not even letting you. He doesn't even let his coordinators talk, and it's so buttoned up over there too. My owner has a weekly radio spot. Oh man, I don't know how that would work. They'd be like, Bill, Jerry said this on the radio. I want to talk about this team. Like, I don't think their personalities will work. He doesn't want to hear every press conference what Jerry talks about. Mike did mine answer.
Maybe he'll just deflect to Jerry all the time. Maybe he'll take the media attention off of him. He doesn't care.
I think
Ryan Clark wants this to happen.
I'd rather Harbaugh than Bill Belichick.
Ryan Clark is all in. He goes, ATL should go after Belichick. It'd be a hell of a match. Ryan Clark tells
I think Atlanta. If he,
I think hot Atlanta. I think Bill Belichick.
Well,
again, I think Atlanta is an interesting team because if you look at the pieces they have on offense, other than the quarterback position, they do have some good skill positions there. Their defense has been pretty good. Arthur Smith had them at what, 8 and was it 7 and 10, 3 straight years?
Mm-hmm.
So they finished 21 and 30 under his tenure. So they're they're
to pick a quarterback to put in there.
Wait, say it again.
Well,
you broke up there.
He trusts Bill Belichick to pick a quarterback. He's had a chance at picking quarterbacks, and he's given me.
But what if he doesn't have to pick him? What if he just gets Justin Fields, presents it to him? And what if he doesn't have to be the general manager?
I don't think you go from top dog to being told what to do when you got 6 rings on your finger.
But he even said he would stay in New England. He would take less responsibility. So he's already said he's willing to do less.
I think Kraft wanted him out. Kraft was none of that. There was no responsibility. None. You got to go. We scored 2 points in the last game. That was the most weirdest press conference. It was cold. You guys were parting ways here. I'll see you later. Parting ways.
Yeah, he didn't get fired. They parted ways.
Yeah. He goes, hey man, I'm not gonna say you're fired. I respect you enough. We're gonna say part ways.
But how do you mutually part ways when the coach the week earlier said, "I'm here to coach the Patriots. I'm under contract."
For today.
So he's not mutually. It wasn't mutually parted.
No,
There's some nice parting words. I just like the fact that Bill cracked a joke and said, "This is as many cameras I've seen since Tebow." So maybe Bill will bring Tebow along.
So yeah,
that's good.
So people are into it, especially Ryan Clark. He goes, the Falcons are exploring a bunch of stuff to bring some people on board, but I can see that being a match in Atlanta that would work not only for a coach. The 44-year-old ex-Steeler said, Ryan Clark, he's kind of a dickhead sometimes. As for how possible it would be, after all, the Falcons have interviewed Belichick for their vacant coaching role, while Fields appears to be available via trade in Chicago because they do have the number 1 overall pick, right, through the Carolina Panthers. So they can actually move away from him, and it'd be not a bad thing to do if that's not your guy for the future.
I don't think you don't give Bill Belichick Justin Fields. He's not going to develop the kid, and it's not going to make him. If you're going to go get, I think if Bill Belichick goes to Atlanta, then they'll bring probably Russ in there, and they'll bring veteran in.
Where do they? So what happens with Justin Fields? Where should he go? Because they don't want him in Chicago. That's my point. They don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. Like you'll even getting traded to some. We'll see how the chips may lay. But
dude,
maybe the Saints or something. I don't know, something like that. They're gonna probably, because they're gonna probably fire everybody out of there.
You think Derek Carr's gone?
I don't think Derek Carr's gone.
Well, if the whole regime's gone, I don't know. I'm just, it could be different on a couple teams. The Commanders or something like that.
Okay.
But they got the second pick overall, so they might go Drake May.
Right. Which is
if Russell Wilson leaves, couldn't Justin Fields go to Denver?
Oh. Wow, that would be crazy.
I don't think he's accurate enough to do what Peyton needs him to do. That is a precision passing game.
You got to have a strong arm in Denver.
But just think, playing in the mile high with those legs, he could outrun everybody, and they'd be grasping for oxygen on the sideline, and he'd be running all over the place.
Yeah, he's yelling at him when he doesn't see the cross on the screen. He would tear this kid apart. Peyton's almost like a small Parcells. I don't know if the kid has the thick enough skin to handle that. Like feels like I don't know if he's talented enough to be accurate enough to run what I know Peyton wants to run. I think Peyton's going to bring in someone a little more has seasons on him, right?
I go to Las Vegas.
Let's see this one.
Here, we get Pierce in there. I can see that. I can see that going in there because we have no quarterback.
Just ship him off to Pittsburgh. Say goodbye to Kenny Pickett. Say goodbye to Mason Rudolph, Justin Fields. Go play in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh just doesn't make those kind of trades though, very rarely. Especially
how much longer is Mike Tomlin going to be in Pittsburgh? Really? He did
How long does he
not
want to be?
look impressed.
He said today he's gonna do 24, but that's about it.
So I got a question about Jordan Love, actually. So, excuse me. Well, so did that work? How do we feel about a quarterback being taken, right, moving up to get one, and then grooming him for 3 years, as opposed to throwing the kid into the fire? Like, do you have to have a situation for that? Is that just situational?
Brett Favre, who followed by Aaron Rodgers, and you follow Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I think it just depends on the system you're in. I don't think it works for everyone, but that used to be the way it worked at quarterback. Only right around when the Peyton Manning years did they start to change, where rookie quarterbacks in this new salary cap structure, where rookie quarterbacks are expected to play right away. I'm pretty sure in like the 80s, 90s, even early 2000s, quarterbacks were expected to sit. Carson Palmer, number 1 overall pick, I'm pretty sure he sat his rookie year. This was what used to happen.
But like the starting quarterback.
We can't hear you too well, Brandon. Get closer to the mic.
Move the microphone closer.
The quarterback, Rodgers had to win 2 MVPs to keep that kid from playing, right? Normally now that guy gets drafted. There's some stopgap veteran loser that's about to lose the job in 5 games anyways. Coach is worried that he might be fired in 3 years. So it's hard to sit that kid and go groom him. The only one that Green Bay could get away with is because they had Rodgers there. And then Rodgers ended up getting MVPs to keep the kid on the bench, right? Because usually what happens is as soon as you get a 2 or 3 game losing streak, they're asking for the kid to get in. And so this is one rarity. They just don't let you build like that.
Is it just Green Bay?
1 year with specialty.
It's just Green Bay.
Weirdly enough, yeah, just because it's small market kind of a thing, I guess. But usually, like what happens too is if you lose 4, because usually those high draft picks go to teams that are bad, the teams that end up losing 3 or 4 games or 5 or 6. They just go, let's throw the young kid in the world. So you'll probably won't ever see that again. Where it's like,
so it can work for. So it can work for say.
I think we just have to find out if I think it was like 13 years, if Jordan Love gets traded to the Jets and whoever takes over quarterback then.
Right. Now it's rigged for
and
sure.
We need a 4th quarterback.
And don't forget, Aaron Rodgers is coming to the team next year, Brandon.
And he's got to win 1 Super Bowl.
Viking.
Unfortunately, I think we're bringing back Kirk Cousins, and I'm like, I'm like, I don't want to bring back Kirk Cousins, but then I look at the quarterbacks out there, and I go, okay, bring back Kirk Cousins.
the reason it works in Green Bay, and
retreads are terrible out there.
It's worked in Green Bay twice though, and literally because they had Aaron Rodgers forever. Before that, it was the same thing with Aaron Rodgers. Brett Favre before that, but Brett Favre was that good of a quarterback that kind of the same thing. All right, now we've got this young guy, but it's still Brett Favre. Not every team has a quarterback like that can stay on top after you draft somebody like that can potentially teach the young kids something when they come in. Huh?
And whether they want to teach them directly or not, just look at the mannerisms of Jordan Love. He's throwing off his back foot, off no feet. Like he kind of embodies a bit of that Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers.
Right?
I don't know.
But the draft
it's true. But
because that was a 1st-round draft pick on a team that's trying to win now. That's an extra lineman. That's an extra DB. That's something else that could have used them. And then you're telling 4 years from now, he's
wide receiver.
The team that was there that needed him to be good is all gone, right? And usually the coaching staff with it as well. So
but that's an organization that at least is building for sustainability, whereas the other teams are going to make the mistake and then they're going to find themselves in a world of hurt later on.
Because they're in Green Bay and they can't get free agents to come out there, and no free agent will ever sign with Green Bay. It's probably the worst free agency. I think that's why that was big surprise was them getting Reggie White and Woodson. And that's the most they've ever gotten from free agency ever in their career, in their whole life.
Yeah.
So they have to draft.
Right. Hey guys, before we get too far, I am running on a battery in my phone. And unfortunately my phone is doing everything tonight because I hooked it up that way. So when my phone goes, both these monitors go, but I don't know if, I'm not trying to rush it along, but did we want to do picks? And then, we can keep talking a little bit after.
You don't have a phone charger, Dave, to plug your phone in?
I do, but unfortunately, I'm plugged into what we're listening. So
he's got it plugged into our.
So I can do things like this.
You need a dongle, baby.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah, we need one of those.
Oh, I got one. Oh yeah, but
$35.
But don't buy your but don't buy your dongle from Aaron Rodgers. Apparently, it will disappoint.
He sells micro dongles.
Listen, let's not
Sam,
talk
what's
bad
a
about
mi-
Aaron Rodgers, okay? He might have lists that we're unaware of.
This
What's a micro dongle?
Yeah.
I had brought up something, and we moved the conversation so quickly that I couldn't do it. But I wanted to bring this thing up before we move on to picks because it's going to be really quick.
Oh, you're fine.
Here we go.
I just wanted to let you know where we're at, kind of going forward. Go ahead.
Oh God, the one that I found was much more salacious, but basically,
That's a good word.
Olivia Munn said something to the effect of, I fake moaned every time."
Wait, hold on. You actually looked this up
Fuck yeah, he did.
for the show?
That's where he left. That's where he went to find.
All right.
Rogers, fake moan. Let's do that. Let's fake moan. There we go. No, that's the same one.
To be fair to Aaron Rodgers, did she ever communicate this to Aaron Rodgers, though? Did he know?
Yes.
I mean, you should never fake. You should never fake.
Come on, but if we're working hard,
platform.
dude. But if we're working
they
hard,
got to
as
be
hell,
honest with him.
Give me
Nope.
something.
Okay, if you're not honest, nothing ever changes, and you're left wanting every time.
Is it time, or
It's
does
true.
he move well to it? You know, he doesn't discount double check it. You know,
Right.
He needed to call Jake from State Farm.
Oh, man.
Oh man, but yeah. Oh God, I wish I had to restart my browser.
Did it say something to the effect of like Aaron Rodgers could never make Olivia Munn do the Lambeau leap? Is that the article?
Something like that.
She definitely says there was abuse, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. So let's bring up our famous VegasInsider.com so we can take a look at. Hey, we take sponsorships if you guys want to sponsor us, Vegas Insider.
Yeah,
that'd be great. Send us a big fat check so we can do some more inside Vegas shit.
Vegas, I would like tickets. That's all I ask. You know.
There you go.
I would like monetary compensation.
Pointing out as the games are coming up, we were talking about the cold weather and will it affect games coming up. The AFC is the only division that's going to matter in going forward. The NFC, it's not going to have anything to do with cold weather. There might be weather in San Francisco. It might, but it ain't going to get super cold. I know it's not super warm there either. But we've got a potential for the NFC of a San Francisco game, a Detroit domed game. And then the following week, the only team that other than San Francisco or Detroit that it could be is Tampa Bay. So those are all warm weather games potentially, or at least domed games. And in the AFC, we've got Baltimore hosting and Buffalo hosting this week. And the only other team that could host the following week would potentially be Kansas City. So,
which we haven't talked about at
AFC.
all. The first true road playoff game in the history of Patrick Mahomes' career.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to see him fall on one of those fucking stupid 27-yard runs that he does, and nobody touches him, and he has all day. And I just want him to break his heart. I want someone to break his heart.
Helmet.
Hold on.
Yeah, I want 5 Taylor Swift pictures where they got to go up there and see how she's doing, at least a minimum, right?
Peacock was
Listen, speak for yourself. I will see as many Taylor Swift images as I can.
Man, they were
Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
Can I root for Taylor Swift the rest of the playoffs?
Can we talk about the jacket that she wore to the damn game?
Her and
the
Mahomes
jacket that she bought off of Kyle Juszczyk's wife.
Crazy.
Oh, man.
It's like a $20 million jacket or whatever. It's like Kelsey big as fuck. But
$20 million jacket?
No. It was a lot. It was definitely custom made and it was very puffy and it was it might have been
Did she
Balenciaga.
buy the one for Brittany Mahomes or did Brittany Mahomes buy the one herself?
That's a good question to speculate on.
They probably get it given to them and just mention who made it and then
Right.
get it for free.
Yeah, because rich people don't pay for their own food or pay for their own clothes on top of everything, right?
Until they stay rich.
Right.
Can we just talk about how Kyle Juszczyk is definitely the man of the year in the NFL? Did he not go on every single post about Taylor Swift's jacket and write on it something to the effect of made by, and I forget his wife's name, but he posted his wife's name on there, Kylie Juszczyk or whatever.
He did his
money in the house.
He did his darndest to promote. Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
you ride that hashtag, bro. If you got the Taylor Swift hashtag, you gotta. I will ride that wave, although on Twitter, Instagram, you name it.
That's right. And Taylor, if you're listening and you want to come on NFL HQ, I know for a fact, Dan Rod especially
Yes.
Is that how
Very excited about
He'll
that.
turn on the camera if you come on. How about that?
Deal.
He'll
I
turn
think
on
he
the-
would.
Yeah.
That's-
What was I
I don't
gonna
It is crazy
We
though when
want her
she
to stay
starts
on.
getting the dick from somebody from KC. Now she's like, oh, KC supporter, but I mean, she really
she's a
was an Eagles
Midwest
fan,
girl
right?
So can I give you my conspiracy? Can I
What's your-
can I do the tinfoil hat?
A
Please.
CO conspiracy? Yes.
So Peacock
Mhm.
was you had to get Peacock to watch the Dolphins game, the Dolphins
Mhm.
Kansas City game. Okay. I had to pay $6. I immediately canceled right after.
Of
There's
course.
no question. In the third quarter, I canceled. And then I realized that $6 doesn't get you ad free. It just gets you fucking access to television. And I'm like, that's not the game. No.
Give my $6 back.
Yeah, right. So here's my conspiracy. All season, they get these two together, Kansas City, right? Edge them into the playoffs, right? Severely hamper our team, make us lose in the week 18, the divisional playoff game for us, really, which felt like a playoff game, and then get 50 to 75 million of her fans to pay $6 to NBC
You're
Peacock
right.
to fucking to watch that one game. And you imagine what's 60 times God, they must have made $1 billion just because and then they showed her every
She
fucking time.
her presence was there.
It's
Right.
60 million to answer your question. 60 million. 60.
I would only agree with you if Peacock had the exclusive streaming rights to her Eras Tour movie that fans could have then watched for free as well.
Damn.
Like if they had packaged her movie with the football game.
You know what? Growing up, playoff games were always, on the mark. You could always see them. They were always on the networks, and then they moved over to the cables and stuff. And now having them where you got to pay to watch it, and,
Right.
and where it's like there's gonna be a time when it's
Not
like, oh, you
right.
want to watch the Super Bowl? Well, then download this Amazon Prime.
Right. Download the Super Bowl app.
Right.
Download the Super Bowl
Right.
app brought to you by NFL.com.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
you're taking away from something that's
Yep.
always kind of true tried out there.
Pay more
That's
money.
the way it is.
Ticket, I bet the fantasy football. I got a second on the house just to afford this shit. And
Is that the sound of people extracting money from your wallet?
yes,
Exactly.
It's like,
And that means it's done. We're done now.
Yep.
my money.
So, all right. So let's get to picks before Dave's phone runs out of battery and the whole operation in Nebraska goes spiraling into the vortex.
It happens.
Here we go.
Can we try something fun for the picks if I would? If I
Man,
may?
you can, dude. Darth
We got-
Daniel
we
can
got-
do anything.
Yes, please.
We got 4 games to pick. So I want, regardless of spread, let's just pick money line
Okay.
and assign a confidence. So 4 is your most confident in this game. 1 is your least confident. So we're picking 4 games each. We'll tally the points at the end, and we'll see who had the better cumulative score. So again, if you believe San Francisco is going to beat Green Bay, how confident are you? Is that your most confident? You're a 4. Your least confident? You're a 1. And vice
Okay.
versa.
Oh,
Perfect.
I like that. Okay. So we
Okay.
got 4 games to pick. And it's getting tight, guys. Remember the times that we would do this and there would be endless games and we'd choose from them. And there was once a time where I was
16 in a
good at
week.
this.
All I know is I'm losing all season long, and I'm still way behind. So,
All right.
so I better try and get my points here.
So on the 20th, that's going to be Saturday, correct? If I can
That
do
is
math, on
correct.
Saturday
Yep.
we got
Yes.
Texans, Ravens. So the way this works, everybody, just a refresher, every sports book and every kind of Vegas representation here that makes odds is represented here with DraftKings all the way to Bet365 and Vegas Insider, MGM, Caesars. So here are the spreads, and we're just doing money line. So let's go over to money line and just pick that. So now we see
Well,
the
we
odds.
can pick the spreads and things later if we still want to do our official better suite. But just for all intents and purposes, to have a little more fun here, to pick all 4 games.
Sounds
We're
good.
just going to pick money line, straight up winners. Obviously, the odds change, but the Ravens are a 9-point favorite roughly. They're your second biggest favorite of the weekend. San Francisco 9.5-point favorite over Green Bay. So your 2 number 1 seeds, both who we have yet to see play in the playoffs right now, are your 2 favorites, heavier favorites, and then your Lions 6.5-point favorites. The Bills only getting 2.5, depending on where you're looking right now, against the Chiefs in your final divisional round game, which will be 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific.
Yep.
On Sunday.
That's right. So look at the money lines first, and let's do. It's a good game that you came up with, Dan. So let's go. So Texans, Ravens. Let's ladies first. What are you thinking about when you think money line? Just somebody to win. If you had some money to put in
Ravens.
Vegas.
Ravens will win.
Okay.
And what's your confidence? 1, 2, 3, or 4? 4 being the most confident.
3.
3.
All right. So Baltimore 3 for Sam.
Yes.
Dave?
Okay.
David.
That specific game.
David, like
I didn't know if I didn't know if we were going. No, it's good. That one.
That's how I get his attention.
So we're all going this game first, or are we all
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
our 4 game?
yeah,
first?
we're all going.
Okay.
We're going one game at a time.
We'll
my
do our
guy.
spreads
Perfect.
afterwards. Let's.
Okay. All right. For this game, Baltimore is going to beat Houston, and that's my 2. That's worth 2 points. It's my third favorite. I've got to I've got to try and come back here.
Money
somehow.
line. Okay. What's your confidence level 1 through 4?
Yeah, that's 2.
It's a 2.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
Normally
hold
it would
on.
be my 4
Hold on.
because I really believe in that. But I'm trying.
Maybe
and-
I'm misunderstanding the rules
No.
of this game.
Okay.
So if I pick the Ravens at 3, sorry, I'm new at this.
all good.
If I pick
No, you're-
Ravens at
we all
3,
are.
can I pick somebody? Can I pick somebody else at a 3 confident level, or
No.
do I have to just okay?
So you have
Gotcha.
1, 2, or 4. So
You
basically,
gotta
out of the
do-
3, you're saying
yeah,
it's
you
the
got
Okay,
second
so
most
yes,
confident.
I'll take them at a. No, can I change that because I
Yes,
wasn't understanding? 4.
So you're the most confident that
Yes.
the Ravens are going to win.
Yes.
I agree with that, and normally I would say that as well, but I'm trying to go opposite these guys so I can beat them somehow.
Okay.
So exactly. So you want Baltimore at a 4. I'm gonna pick Baltimore, and I'm gonna make that my worth 2 points.
Okay.
Got it.
Understood.
Sorry, I didn't mean to misunderstand.
Brandon.
Okay, my turn. I'll go Houston 2.
Houston with a 2. Okay. So that right in the middle. There's a chance that the CJ Stroud drops 4 touchdowns on him, huh?
There
It's
is.
not going to happen.
Lamar's only got
There
one
is.
playoff win, and a team that would usually win it would have to get him in the secondary. You know,
It can happen.
flat.
Okay.
Mark will get something for that offense.
I'll go last. Senor Daniel.
Okay, I'll go Baltimore 3.
Baltimore with a 3. Okay. I am going to go Baltimore 4.
All right.
All right.
There's just no way D'Amico Ryans, as a rookie head coach, goes in and out coaches.
Just out of
good
spite,
defense.
I'll pick the next one real quick. I'm going to go San Francisco 4.
Nice.
Sorry, Green Bay.
Attaboy.
All
right. Attaboy. Okay. Sam, who do you like there? 49ers or Packers money line to win?
Okay, so I really want the Packers to win, but
Of course you do.
but we'll say 49ers. And I said Ravens 4, right?
Yep, you did.
Yep.
We're gonna do 49ers 3.
Okay.
All right. Brandon.
49ers 4, 5, 7. They're gonna
49ers going to whoop that ass, is what he's saying. He's going to whoop that ass. 4, 5, 7.
Shanahan will not.
We'll go
LaFleur
4.
will never outcoach Shanahan. That ain't gonna happen. Even when he had Aaron Rodgers at MVP, he bring in Jimmy G. They were getting smoked. He was able to outcoach McCarthy. You're not gonna outcoach him. I mean,
But he has Rick Bisaccia on his special teams now.
that was the difference.
Should have been the Raiders coach, man. Versace should have been the Raiders coach.
Yeah, they're gonna get
He was Antonio Pierce before Antonio
that
Pierce.
secondary for.
That's a whole
Green
nother
Bay
can of worms.
Horrendous. I don't know how.
All right, Dave. Green Bay, San Francisco. Your pick.
It's going to be San Francisco. I picked them to be in the Super Bowl against the Ravens. They're gonna get this game, and I will make it worth 1 point.
1 point. So little confidence.
Little confidence,
but
but
that's
still
fine.
going to do it.
I'm just trying to bet opposite you guys.
AC. AC. Your pick.
All right. Said my pick?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 49ers, and that's going to be a 3 because I have a 3 to play.
All right, so now we go to Detroit and Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. Let's bring them up. So the Lions are favored, meaning for the people who don't bet out there, minus 280 means you got to lay $2.80 to win $1. So they are favored by a bit. So
What's a bit? Just out of curiosity.
280. So $2.80 for every dollar.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Oh, you were doing
We're
money
favored by
line.
6.5 points.
Okay.
So
I forgot
roughly
we're
a
on money
touchdown.
line. Go ahead.
Or is it you bet $280 to win $100?
Exactly.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I did it in dollar terms. Yeah, exactly.
Multiples of 10 people. Who's going first?
I'll go first this time because I haven't gone first yet.
Okay.
Here
Go ahead,
is
Dave.
my 4.
You're gonna be Aaron Rodgers this?
I'm gonna pick Tampa Bay to win this, and that's my 4.
Really?
To win money line.
Ooh, okay.
I see what you're doing. You want to
See?
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I'm getting
You
see,
want a
no.
little. I got you.
So this one game is gonna Tampa Bay. That's my 4.
Gotcha.
Or I lose big time.
Any given Sunday or Saturday for that matter. Brandon, what do you think about the Lions and Buccaneers?
I'll take Lions in 3.
Lions in 3, so he has pretty high confidence there.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go ahead and take. I'm going to take the Lions, and I'm going to use my 2. So I have so confidence, but
Dan Rod?
depends.
I'm going to take Tampa Bay with a 1.
Ooh.
I'm taking Tampa Bay with a 2.
Oh, sorry. I said Tampa Bay, but I meant to say Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
I agree.
I love that. I love that. Welcome to Tampa Baker, everyone.
I do Tampa with a 2.
They should change it to Tampa Baker International Airport.
They should if they win.
It should be Tampa Bay.
Tampa Baker.
It should be
That's
Tampa Baker.
perfect.
All right. Moving on to the Chiefs then and the Bills, and that's going to be the culmination of our NFL playoff weekend. Chiefs, Bills, Sam.
Bills with the only one I have left. 1.
The 1. Okay.
You go 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Yeah, I'm going to do that as well. I'll go next. I'll go next.
Steve,
I'm
who are you
going to go Chiefs because I just don't like the Bills going this deep into the playoffs. They're going to choke it up hardcore, and it's going to be Chiefs with the 1 I have left.
I'm going to say Bills in 1, and so I got San Francisco and Buffalo in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And, it'll be hell of a Super Bowl.
San Francisco and Buffalo in the Super Bowl. Is that what you think?
Yeah,
I haven't even thought about that combination. That's a pretty good combination.
it's good, and everybody will enjoy it.
Will we?
Everyone, yeah. I'm gonna
be. You get the Shanahan, you get that monster of a team that's coming together, and then you get Josh Allen finally getting to the Super Bowl. And
it will be aesthetically pleasing, for the eyes.
Super quarterback versus super team, and I think it kind of makes everybody happy with that.
But one's gonna shit the bed, and the other one's not.
Yeah, the San Francisco will win, but San Francisco will win the Super Bowl.
And we'd like to know what that is.
There's no team that's going to beat San Francisco.
We're going to need to know that, Sam. So whenever you get a strong feeling about who's going to win these next games, please call me, text me, telegram me.
Yes.
I need to place that bet. I need fresh eyes and fresh minds here.
I get you.
So if you're putting something together for those people who are watching in betting terms, right? Since this is getting a little bigger. So if you're putting together a 4-team parlay for this weekend, get out your handy dandy phone if you're in Nevada or New Jersey or something like that where they allow gambling. If not, get on DraftKings. And because I don't have for some fucking reason, Brandon and I don't have
DraftKings doesn't let us do it here because Nebraska is shitty.
Because Nebraska,
we have to drive across the river.
We have to go over to Iowa to use.
When Iowa is better than Nebraska, that's not good.
How far away is Iowa then?
I mean, they did beat us.
How far away? 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Okay, go have breakfast and play some bed. Get out of here.
Can you see Iowa from your front door?
Almost.
On a clear day, I can see Iowa.
From where
Clear
I
out my
used to
front
live,
door.
yeah.
Your cornfield's better than your cornfields? Is that what it is?
They have bluffs, so we don't.
There you go.
All right.
See this cornfield?
They have 3
All right, well,
Dan Rod.
Last 2 to pick. I'm going to take Buffalo with my 2 because that's all I have left.
And
Dave, your last pick is a 3.
I'll take Buffalo with my 3 also.
All right, you guys writing that down?
Josh Allen. Let's do
Perfection.
All right, so the way it worked out is Dave and I have the same picks, different values. So if all 4 of our teams win, then it doesn't matter your strategy, Dave. If one of them happens to lose, then it could play a factor. Other than that, everyone else is slightly different to an extent. So we could see how this plays out.
Darth Danrod.
But the consensus: 4 Baltimore's, 1 Houston, 5 San Francisco's, 3 Tampa Bay's, 2 Detroit's, and 4 Buffalo's, 1 Kansas City. So
if you're putting together like I was saying, if you're putting together a parlay for those people who don't know what a parlay is, you're just picking those winners. And so, for example, Ravens, 49ers, Lions for myself, and Chiefs. If that all hits, then you're in the money. I would do one if I had a calculator to put one up. I guess I could do it on my phone. and I can tell you guys what that would be. If you give me a moment before we end the show.
Prop
Take Purdy over 2 touchdowns throwing, and take, I would say, is David Montgomery at least 1 touchdown rushing. They don't throw the ball when they get inside the red zone. They run it a lot too, so I think he'll pick up a touch. And so I think those are my two.
And take Baker Mayfield if the prop is anywhere around 8 to 10 rushing yards. Take him over that.
Let's talk about that.
The way they pressure on the sides.
Yep. So sticking with that game, if we look at the same game parlay that Caesars offers, you're looking at so the same game parlay, and then you can go to you can actually play with the alternate spread, and you can say,
I wonder what you could have got to have Baker Mayfield outrush Jalen Hurts yesterday.
Right? Holy shit!
Unreal.
By three times.
Probably would have
unreal.
Been a millionaire.
When the tush push didn't work, that's when you knew the game was over.
Right. Well, hold on. When that happened, there was a whole ass face mask that they didn't.
Right.
Yes. The guy was like,
grab your head and
okay.
spin it back to the 4-yard line.
Dallas flinched on their first touchdown late in the first half, and then didn't get called. Coach LaFleur
there was a couple
on that one,
calls that they didn't, or that should have been called against Tampa that I was like,
Brandon's onto something. David Montgomery is minus 125 for an anytime touchdown in that game. So Vegas knows that too. Vegas feels very confident that for an anytime touchdown, you're actually laying $1.
Yeah.
25 to make $1. So if you are going to
they just don't throw it when they get within 5 yards.
Right. They don't have that big target, right? They don't have Greg Olsen anymore, do they?
No.
Well, they have Laporta,
but they just don't throw it.
He's a little banged up. And Jahmyr Gibbs is a good receiving threat out of the backfield. And he really likes Amon-Ra St. Brown, who made that huge catch.
He did.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is minus 105 for an anytime touchdown.
Is there a prop how many Detroit Lions will have blue hair?
That looks like over 1.5.
You just mean old people?
Because if you haven't heard the story, Amon-Ra St. Brown promised the wide receiver group that if Detroit made the playoffs, he would dye his hair blue, which he did. But then in his post-game interview, he did say that, several other Lions players were contemplating making the change. So
there you go.
We'll see.
All right.
My man. All right. Well.
All right, guys. Married couple's got to jump out.
Yeah, we're out.
All right.
So, thank you all so much. We went about 1 hour and 40 minutes, which is pretty much on time, give or take 20 minutes. But thank you all for being here, and let's definitely do this next week. And we need to talk about a few things offline for next year, and a couple of things that we have kind of cooking, and making this a little bit more consistent. So we'll talk then. Anybody have last words?
Thanks for having me again.
You're invited anytime.
Hey, it's good to be back. I'm sorry, guys. I've missed a couple weeks out.
We all have.
But you know what? Anytime you get to just be watching football again and be talking about it, man, it's phenomenal. And so, thank you guys.
Absolutely, man.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Everybody.
Yes, I look forward to a stress-free football weekend, knowing that I'm not rooting for the Cowboys.
Agreed.
Just root for Tampa
or against them. Everybody root for Tampa.
When do we start NBA HQ? Is it February 2nd?
Oh, do we?
Miami Heat flag going. So.
Oh man, I got my Knicks hat ready. This is our year finally. I'm gonna see an NBA championship in New York, and so it's gonna be phenomenal.
Well, let's make some money. Let's make some money. You guys got the picks, and you know what's going on.
I'm pretty sure the Daytona 500 starts right after the Super Bowl, so we're going to be doing that show. No, we're not.
Hey, you guys in Vegas also have Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura in concert, or not in concert, doing a show. I think they added, there's 2 shows there in Vegas at the MGM. So,
hell yeah,
go see them. They're great.
Funny.
Bert's amazing. So is Tom. So
it's unreal. Big podcast fans. And February, for me, my favorite band in the whole world, I'll see Tool February 18th at T-Mobile Arena. So that's
awesome.
Yeah.
Married Couple podcast coming up tomorrow night with How Was Your Day? Also, AC, we're going to start that other show. We'll discuss that. It's coming soon.
Okay, let me lower this music. Hold on a second.
All right.
Brandon or Dan, if you guys want to be there.
Yes.
We're doing a new thing where we are joining, and Restream has up to 10 people can join. So that's not an issue. It's controlling the laughter, because we're going to do a new kind of get together stream, and we're going to look at memes that are way too long.
And it's called Who's Coming With Me?
Who's coming with
We're
me?
all gonna bring just inappropriate shit. Look at it and then show the other people and
And
just
laugh our asses
dare
off.
you not to laugh because you're going to hell.
Blind react. We're gonna blind react to some really, really over the
We
top.
have to bring the memes with us, or we're just there to.
You can. You choose.
You don't have
Dealer's
to-
choice.
There's gonna be. I have thousands of them, and they have. So like, you
Yeah,
can
we
bring
got
them,
some.
Just bring yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta find where they get the memes, but yeah, I'll try.
Yeah,
to
or just
Bring yourself. Don't worry. We got
Reels,
plenty of
whatever.
them.
We've got them.
It'll be
You
fun.
just come and comment, and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get to be silly. Yes.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The sillier the better.
Hell in a handbasket.
And by silly, we mean high as fuck.
Got
Yeah, pretty much.
off legal.
Of course. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, we live in Nevada.
Maybe this might be the one time I do a gummy on a show.
Let's go.
No, I can't do that.
they just double the amount of weed that we can buy in Nevada on January 1st. Now we can
We
buy
can only get
3 ounces.
we can only get Delta 8 and Delta 9 here, so but it still makes me giggly.
Come on
So
down, boo boo. We're gonna talk about a Las Vegas trip as well. We're gonna
Yes.
let's get our finances together and open the books and figure out when the next
I mean,
thing
we
is.
could come for
Let's
a
do it.
weekend. Yes.
Let's do it.
We're good. All right.
You don't have to pay for
Okay.
anything. You know my house is open anyway. Love you
Yeah.
guys,
That's true.
and we'll see
Love
you tomorrow
you.
for the married couple.
Thanks,
Brandon,
guys.
peace.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. See you, Brandon.
See ya. Thanks, guys.
See ya.